Imagine suffering from anxiety, depression, or insomnia. Maybe you have already suffered from anxiety, depression, or insomnia, or maybe you are currently suffering from anxiety, depression, or insomnia. Having the burden of expensive medication weighing on not only your wallet, but your quality of life can be just as exhausting as the symptoms of these diseases. The side effects of the drugs used to treat these diseases are sometimes worse, or might be worse, than the actual ailment that you suffer from. Luckily, I'll be informing you that lavender is more than just a pleasing scented candle aroma and aesthetically pleasing flower. However, we'll be focusing more on the oil that is extracted from the flower rather than the flower itself. Lavender oil has therapeutic characteristics and produces a soothing effect when it is inhaled. This particular essential oil is being studied to test the effectiveness as an alternative to traditional medication for mental health related issues such as anxiety, depression, and insomnia. These studies have yielded positive results thus far, and due to the lack of harsh side effects, lavender oil is actually preferable to that of traditional medications for the treatment of these diseases. First, we'll cover anxiety. Anxiety is commonly treated with prescribed medication known as benzodiazepines, or benzos as they're more commonly referred to. Popular benzodiazepine medications include the likes of Valium and Xanax. Prescription anxiety medications that possess unwanted side effects. Here we see some examples of benzo medications and what they look like. There's also a diagram explaining what the benzodiazepine does to the nervous system. These side effects of these drugs range from drowsiness and irritability to the lack of balance and slurred speech. My mother, who suffers from anxiety, has been prescribed both of these medications in the past and has been unable to take the medicine during her workday due to the side effects. By not being able to take her medication, the anxiety she suffers from only persists and makes her workday unbearable. A study conducted by Lee and others stated in their periodical in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine that, and I quote, "With respect to safety, it is reported that aromatherapy is relatively free of adverse effects compared with conventional drugs." And another study conducted by Hassani and others in their periodical found in the Iranian Journal of Nursing and Midwifery Research concluded that it was safe to ingest lavender oil, being void of any side effects to those in the study that ingested it. Those same studies found lavender oil to be effective in treating patients who suffer from anxiety. Now on to depression. Depression is typically treated with prescribed antidepressants, such as serotonin reuptake inhibitors. For those that don't know what an SSRI is, take a moment and see here. This diagram explains what an SSRI does to the nervous system. This medication is intended to correct the chemical imbalance in the brain's neurotransmitters. Like benzodiazepine medications, however, SSRIs come with unwanted adverse effects. A study conducted in New Zealand by Amy G. and others, one of the largest antidepressant effects studies to date, surveyed 1,829 patients, all of whom experienced high rates of adverse effects in the personal and interpersonal domain. Feeling emotionally numb, agitation, and suicidal thoughts, among others, were reported by patients in the study. This graph here represents the percentages of the 1,829 patients who admitted to experiencing an array of adverse side effects while using antidepressant medication. Lavender oil alleviates not only the symptoms of depression, but the harsh side effects caused by traditional medications. In addition to being beneficial for the treatment of depression and anxiety, lavender oil can also be used to treat insomnia. A study conducted by the University of Minnesota School of Nursing investigated the effectiveness of inhaling lavender oil prior to sleep. This study consisted of 79 college students with self-reported sleep issues. The study was conducted over a 5-night span and required the participants to use a Fitbit tracker and an adhesive patch containing 55 microliters of lavender oil. Well, at least for the experimental group. The control group was required to wear a blank patch for the placebo effect. The patches were then placed on the chest of the participant and were manufactured with a skin barrier to prevent absorption in order to ensure that lavender oil was only being held by the participants. Each participant was surveyed before and after the trial using the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, or the PSQI. The study concluded there was statistically significant difference in sleep quality between the experimental and the control group, with the experimental group reporting overall better sleep quality, according to Lilly and others. The experimental group also reported feeling refreshed with less daytime fatigue. And the only noted side effect was just a slight skin irritation where the patch was placed. Only 4 participants out of the 79 reported that issue, only being 1 night apiece. Now we see that lavender oil is most definitely a safe and beneficial and even a more preferable outlet to treat insomnia, anxiety, and depression.